I have it written down. I have never been able to extemporize a eulogy, but before I read what I have on paper, I'd like to make an observation. What you've heard today from these wonderful people is a giant portrait of Bobby, a mural painted on what started out to be a blank wall, and it's very, very beautiful. And I feel like I'm about to put a couple of brush strokes of my own on it. I hope it remains beautiful. In searching for the source of my deep love and admiration for Bobby, I stumbled across a simple quote from the Dalai Lama. Share your knowledge. It is a way to achieve immortality. Those words brought to mind an experience I had with Bobby many years ago. Judy and I had traveled to Paris with Ginny and Bobby, where he was to give a lecture to the governmental leaders of France on reform of their rail system. The evening before, we had dined far outside of Paris, and in driving back to our hotel, I became hopelessly lost. Being too macho to ask for directions, I delivered Bobby and Ginny to our hotel in the wee hours of the morning, depriving him of needed sleep before his early morning lecture. When he returned to the hotel after speaking, I casually asked him how it went. Bobby made it clear that because I had kept him up so late, he had not been able to connect sufficiently with his audience to convince them of the elegant wisdom of his reform recommendations. And as a result, the railroads of France were doomed to inefficiency. You have set back the railroad system of France by at least 10 years, he told me in a lightly sarcastic tone that masked his deep frustration. I start with this vignette because the experience opened my eyes to Bobby's deep passion for teaching. He was consumed with conveying to his listeners the knowledge he had derived from his research, experience, and creativity. And I hadn't previously realized how much it meant to him. As I observed him over the years after my Paris debacle, I came to believe that teaching was the very essence of Bobby's life. In Bobby's hands, teaching was an art form. I never attended one of his classes, yet I experienced his range of skills in commanding attention, drawing me into conversation, listening carefully, challenging me, breaking down the subject matter into comprehensible pieces, and assuring that I came away with a higher level of understanding. He was never pedantic, and I was rarely conscious of being taught. But I always knew that he was generously sharing the products of his towering intellect, ideas that otherwise would have been inaccessible to me. The subjects he taught me ranged from politics to baseball, poker to ethics, wine to philosophy. Of course, we talked in depth about the cases in which he participated as an expert, describing his battle of wits in depositions and trials as though he were a matador, deftly frustrating his opponent until it was time to go in for the kill. I'm sure that I'm describing experiences that resonate with all of you. Many of us have observed Bobby lovingly teaching his children and his grandchildren. And whether or not we were bridge players, all of us received lessons in the game he so loved, as Ginny can attest. It is our nature to want to immortalize those we love when they have passed. The Great Pyramids, the concept of heaven, and belief in reincarnation are attempts to reject the finality of death. But for us, Bobby will remain a part of our lives as long as we remember the lessons he patiently taught us. And we will tell generations to come about this truly remarkable friend, husband, father, grandfather, and teacher.